You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Welcome, listeners, to another episode of All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast here on BQN and the Fandom Podcast Network. I'm your host, Kelvin, and with me today are Christos and Ben. Patreon patrons, remember you can now watch All Good Things as an extended video edit of this very episode at patreon.com/BQN. Hello, hello, hello. Ben, you're looking very colourful today. I wonder why that could be.
Well, thank you, Kelvin. I was just feeling a little pride in my wardrobe today.
I love that T-shirt. I've not seen that before. It's not one of my designs. Yeah. Where have you got that one from?
This is actually one of the officially licensed Star Trek The Cruise T-shirts, which I love that they offer a wide assortment, including... we'll call them Pride coded T-shirts, although I don't know how coded straight up rainbow is, but they offered a pretty wide assortment to buy in advance of the cruise this year so that the store didn't get swamped once people got on board.
Oh, love it. How are you, Christos? How's your week been?
It's been great. And those of you who are watching on Patreon, you can see my bed hair. So, there are the benefits of watching. It has been a good week overall. I'm feeling good. It's kind of funny. Pride doesn't always hit for me in June because San Diego Pride is like around July 15th, right in the middle of the month. So I always feel weird about Pride in June as everybody else is celebrating.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Ours in Manchester is end of August. It's usually like the last of the season. So I see this as like the commercial month of Pride. And then we get our party in August.
Well, that's very
closing ceremony of summer.
Yeah, we drag it out all summer pretty much in SoCal. Whether you're in LA or Long Beach or San Diego or Palm Springs, it's all over. Palm Springs is in November because of the heat. So
nice.
It's a lot cooler in November. So anyways, we just spread it out. We just Pride all the time.
Well, happy June, happy Pride, everyone. Speaking of dragging it out all summer, let's drag out an old feature on All Good Things.
Faith, joy, and gratitude.
Christos, I believe you have a Trek-adjacent smile for us this week.
Yeah. So my boyfriend and I started watching this new Netflix limited series with Sam Worthington in it, which, by the way, I didn't realize he was still around. It's called I Will Find You, and it was like a little 8-episode limited series. Those are kind of like my style. It's all done after, and you don't have to. There's no sequel. There's no season next year, so I like that kind of stuff. But lo and behold, our two Trek actors were like right there. Tara Rosling, being the bigger name, Tarina from Star Trek Discovery, Mrs. Saru. She had a pretty big role in it, and I was like, right away, she was easy to spot because we've all met her out of makeup, and she had a pretty significant role. And then the other one who was like totally like, it wasn't until the last episode that I finally like, okay, I'm going to look on IMDb. But this actor named Greg Brick, he was from the episode Those Old Scientists from Strange New Worlds, and he played the Orion captain. I didn't even know he had a name, by the way. It's Harker, and but I was like, and he was obviously out of makeup, but I just knew I'd seen that face, and so, anyways, a little exciting to see people who are in Trek doing other things. I guess they are actors and do need to make a living. Trek doesn't always pay the bills.
Scientist in inverted commas.
Yes, exactly. So,
well done. I was putting it together a few notes for today's episode, and I just had a mental block and a name. I just could not reach into my memory and get a character's name for Kyle from the War College, and it's gone. And I thought, is this the beginning of the end for me? Am I losing my memory?
You're mid-40s, right?
Yeah.
That's when that started happening to me. That still happens. There are days where it's just like everything's right there, and there are days where it's like, if I haven't had enough sleep, or maybe I drank a little bit too much the day before, man, the recall is just a little slower.
But I pride myself on my recall. It's like, no, I must be able to name names on cue.
On there.
Yes, indeed. Pride on recall. There we go. That's my pride. Ben, have you had any great joy and gratitude this week? Any Trek put a smile on your face?
I will follow in Christos's footsteps with this one. And while I have not watched it, there is a new movie on Netflix starring Jennifer Lopez, but also starring Mary Wiseman, Tilly from Discovery, as well as Michelle Hurd, who plays Raffi Musiker in Picard. It's on the list to see just for the two of them. Rom-coms, I think it's called Office Romance. Rom-coms are not my cup of tea, but we got to support our Trek alumni, and I'm so glad to see them getting roles and hopefully avoiding the Trek typecast curse that I think a lot of especially the early series actors have fallen into.
That's kind of the beauty of these shows not taking off and becoming, household sensations, is they kind of keep their anonymity outside of the Trek world.
Yeah. How have you been enjoying the World Cup, Christos? Have you been watching all the games?
Pretty much. In fact, I just realized I'm missing Spain right now. It started right at the top of the hour. But yeah, it's been really a big thing here in San Diego. And I have the Fox One app where you can just stream all the matches. And it's been kind of fun, like just kind of keeping up with, all the patriotism from all the different countries and whatnot, and seeing some of the players too from, who play in other professional leagues being pulled into their national teams and whatnot. So pretty cool. I'm enjoying it.
Are you a football fan, Ben?
All I have to say is go sports, and I hope everybody has fun.
Oh, so Friday, my boyfriend and I are having lunch at this Greek restaurant, and we're out on the patio, and I'm like in my America jersey because literally America was playing Australia right at that time. And so I have my phone on the, against the umbrella streaming the match, and 2 tables down, there's this other couple doing the same thing and whatnot. And the waiter, who I think, speaking of pride, is a repressed, closeted Greek gay boy. It's like, what's everybody watching?
That's a
and I told him, and he's like, oh, well, that makes sense because I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, good luck coming out, buddy.
Yeah.
Good on to you.
I guess my great joy and gratitude today, I will point out as of day of recording, 21st of June, today is Father's Day. Is it Father's Day in the US as well as in the UK? Yeah. I know Mother's Day is different on both sides, but Father's Day is the same. So happy Father's Day to my dad, Keith, who sometimes listens, preferably not to the episodes when I'm slagging off my family. Cheers. Okay, we might have already given away in our introduction, but Christos, would you like to tell the listeners what are we going to be discussing today? Surprise, surprise.
Sure, of course. It's 2026 Pride here at All Good Things. And today we are making Pride in Star Trek for 2026, or marking, with glasses. So we're going to be talking about how the LGBTQ plus characters and or actors have been represented in Star Trek over the last year, and what have been the initial and lasting reactions to our community. So I'm instantly thinking of this meme I just saw the other day. So it was like, the LGBTQ, well, IA plus is here how it's usually, in America when you're going all the way through. It's like I have to drop the plus and go to LGBTQIA with ads because everything's getting so expensive. Sorry, just a little, not my joke, but it was cute.
Yeah. When I was thinking of content, I was like, we haven't really had a huge amount of Star Trek in the last 12 months. But actually, if you just in 2026 tunnel vision, we're only 6 months into the year. So if you go back to kind of this time last year, Then we've had a season of Strange New Worlds that was still being broadcast around this time last year, plus Academy, plus a few other little bits and some beta canons. So it's quite a lot of content, and rightly so as well. I think we're finally at the age in Star Trek now where we are truly represented and front and center in some of the main characters. So I thought we'd start off with Starfleet Academy. Lots to talk about here. I'd like to start by casting your mind back to, we're getting a gay Klingon. What the hell? A gay Klingon? Surely not. Christos, do you remember the time before Starfleet Academy started airing and all of the kind of online chatter about when Kareem was saying, I'm going to be doing something a Klingon's never done before?
Yeah. And I think we all kind of speculated, right, that was coming. Not to mention in the visuals, he was in one of the skirts, scants, whatever we're calling the Starfleet Academy equivalent. So he just kind of had that Britney Spears "Hit Me Baby One More Time" Klingon looking. But I think we all kind of predicted it, and of course that did come to fruition.
It did. And then when it did, what an almighty shitstorm we had on social media. What were your thoughts at the time, Ben? Do you remember all of this news blowing up and going live, and the kind of the reaction from outside of the gay community of Star Trek fans or even non-fans?
I don't specifically remember the reaction before the show started, in part because I don't read the comics. If I know that there are going to be opinions that are of a certain slant, we'll say, I skip them. I don't give them the interaction on social media. I don't click on those videos. I don't watch them. I don't read them. I don't pay attention to them. So perhaps partially in that reason, I don't remember seeing any sort of backlash or unfavorable opinions towards the character before the show started.
Yeah. Good for you then, as Christos just said. I mean, I can't resist having a peek, and then I always wish that I didn't because it just really bums me out. It wasn't nice, and I know Kareem himself said it really got him down as well. He was ready to, celebrate doing something original, something new, and saw a lot of hate, but also balanced with the amount of people coming forward to him and telling them his story. And, that's the nice side of things. So if you can find a way to balance the positivity and negativity, then all power to him too. But I remember quite a lot of toxicity online. And a lot of it is what you just said, Christos. It was based around the outfit. It was based around he was wearing the Scants uniform, despite, we love a Scant, but, it had been in Starfleet, it had been in Strange New Worlds. Background characters had been wearing them. So it wasn't anything new for Star Trek.
I mean, unfortunately, the whole far-right conversation around woke, which I just roll my eyes to, it's just such a popular thing because it's what the far right does here in America to distract you from the real issues. They just want their base to be mad about something so they can be mad and not focus on the poor policy decisions being made by their leaders. So it's whatever they can find, whether it's immigrants, whether it's, LGBTQ, whether it's whatever it is. So, of course, Star Trek was ripe for, the shooting because they needed to change the narrative again. So that was where, poor Jaden was, became, and the whole series itself actually became a target and controversial in the mainstream media.
Well, let's give our opinions on the facts of the case in terms of what he gave us as a storyline, as an arc for the season. Ben, did you like Jaden's storyline and the content and what we had in season 1 from him?
I didn't. No. I think they were clearly going for playing against type with a Klingon. But we've been there and done that. We've got Kalar, the diplomat. We've got B'Elanna, the engineer, tech genius. We've got the Archer's Klingon lawyer in Enterprise. We've got the Klingon scientist in Suspicions that Beverly meets in TNG. So we've seen it. We've seen it before. All right. So we've got a Klingon who is a pacifist, who is a healer. All right. That idea on its own, if you want to play against type again, fine. But then you also have okay, we want a gay character on the show. And personally, it didn't work for me combining those all into the same character. I would have preferred seeing a bloodthirsty warrior Klingon badass to be the gay character. Or conversely, if you've got the Klingon playing against type, they might be playing against type for Klingons, but then they're also playing into every human stereotype about a gay character. They're soft, they're nurturing, they're pacifists, they wear skirts, they're, of a slight build. I mean, it's just stereotype after stereotype after stereotype, and the character did not work for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, Christos, you seem to be agreeing with much of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I like the character, so I won't go that far. But everything Ben said is true, though. I mean, like, first off, I thought it was very much, especially when they had I think episode 4, the one that's about his family and they show his father and everything. That was Worf and Alexander's story. I mean, like, we've already, like, to your point, Ben, we've been there, done that. That was like the only 2 Klingons I don't think you mentioned there in your well-formed list. Because, there's Worf trying to be like, be a warrior, be a warrior, be a warrior. And the kid's like, I don't want to be a warrior. And, and Alexander does, if you go back and he does kind of present as a young gay boy in the TNG episodes, at least. So you kind of already had that. And then you're right. It's like, here's a gay Klingon. It's not just the fact that he's gay. He's literally playing into all the sissy tropes instead of just being a butch gay Klingon, or a gay Klingon who just happens to sleep with men. Like, it reminded me of, like, when I watched the Chief of War series on Apple TV with what's Aquaman, Jason Momoa. So that was basically showing Hawaiian culture, and the gay men in that series, because mahus or gays were very accepted in ancient Hawaiian culture, were just presented as regular tribesmen who would go to war like anybody else, but just happened to sleep with men at night. That's all this could have. If Jaden would have been more like that, it would have been a lot more digestible. But instead, it's like pacifist, sissy, soft-spoken. It's just every gay stereotype, was there on top of it. So
I've thought of it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have just answered my question, Christos, if it's been shown in a different program. But do you think the world could have taken a butch gay Klingon? Do you think that would have contributed to the amount of backlash, hate online, and negativity? Because certainly in 1970s, 1980s culture, that's how all gays were on TV in terms of meek, mild, because they weren't threatening to heterosexuals, and they were the acceptable Klingons because they were a bit lovable and a bit affable. And
they were the butt of the joke.
To make it, was he a gateway gay?
No, I think he was this is where I think I told you I've had my problems with Starfleet Academy, and this is one of them, because we don't need to see that. Like, representation matters. We say that, right? But why do you, go to that extreme, right? And go to like make Kyle like that, fine. He's the human, right? But you already are pulling this Klingon into this role. And then, to Ben's point, you're dumping all that other stuff onto him, right? It's almost a little bit insulting as the gay man to see that representation that, that's what you think we all are. That's how I look at that,
I also think that the fact that there was an entire story an entire episode of the only 10 episode season, a 10th of the show, devoted to him having conflict with his family because they did not accept who he was as a person. Talk about another tired gay trope. I want to see LGBTQIA plus characters represented who are not struggling, who are not facing, conflict with their families or with oppressive systems around them. I want to see them at the top of their game, kicking ass, being successful, and not this sort of coming of age, oh, my family disowned me, just tired story.
It's very Dawson's Creek. But they all said this was going to be Dawson's Creek 90210 in space, and that's exactly what they've given us, because that's what the storylines were when they had a gay character.
True. I mean, you could argue the devil's advocate right down that lane, Kelvin, that we weren't the audience for this show. It was supposed to be kind of young adult, right? So you want to show young adult viewers who may be struggling with their family or other issues. You kind of want to have that translate on screen. So you could argue that's kind of why they made some of the choices that they made, but I don't know. Like I said, for me personally, it's tired and kind of old, and I'm tired of seeing myself on TV as being struggling, and like to your point, Ben, instead of just being healthy, productive member of society who's okay with myself, and that's not 100% what defines me.
Are there any saving graces in the storylines that we got with the relationships of Jaden? Because there was this slow build with Kyle from the War College, and we're kind of left not necessarily on a cliffhanger, but we don't know what's going into season 2 of the won't be with him and Remy. So I don't know, which side of the pendulum do you swing on that? Do you like either of the relationships? Do you want him to dump Kyle and go with Remy, or stick with Kyle? I don't know. What do you think about that, Christos? Or do you not care?
I liked his relationship with Kyle. I thought it was really cute because you kind of watched it simmering. We kind of took those cues of, oh, look at how he's looking at him, and he's not acting like the other guys from the War College. He did get a little bit, I don't know. I noticed a shift in that. What was it? The episode where he goes off with Remy to his, and Kyle's kind of almost pathetic now in that.
Clingy, isn't he?
Clingy and pathetic, which I call that the Will Truman trope, because that was, Will Truman starts off as a competent gay man in season 1 of Will and Grace, and just became a pathetic farce of a gay man as that show continued. So kind of right back to what I was saying earlier, but Remy, I don't know if he's gay, bisexual, questioning, but definitely feel like there's something brewing there. And I think Kareem has alluded that there's a lot more in season 2. So I think we will actually see more of that before we're done.
Yeah. Where do you think it's going to go, Ben? Do you think they're going to have a little moment?
I'm interested to see where it goes, but I hope that it is done in a way that services the storyline, not in just a shoehorning the token gays into the story way, as has been done in recent history on Star Trek. I'm thinking in Discovery with the addition of, help me out here.
Adira, correct?
Adira, yes. So as long as it's done well, I'm very curious to see where it goes. And if the writing is on the wall, I think unless Kyle plays a much larger role in the second season, they've been teeing it up so that Jaden and Darum can end up together.
Yeah. I see it written
Poor Kyle.
in quite a heterosexual way. It is being written in, these two have just got together and actually he's going to have his head turned and go with someone else, where they might just end up having an open relationship. And he just goes
it's like if you want to show gay reality, right? There'll be a throuple
by the end of it. Who knows? That would be a little bit more 2026 in gay culture.
I think it would be interesting, though, if they continue to play up the sort of dual love triangles with the boys on one end and then Genesis, Tarima, and Caleb in the other love triangle on the other end. There could be some interesting dynamic there, but I also don't know that any Star Trek show needs to predominantly feature not one but two love triangles as part of its plot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And as you say, and Christos, you say this all the time on the show, 10 episodes, let's get some exploring done.
Yeah.
Let's seek out some new life, not gay tropes. Before we move on from Kareem, I just want to do honorable mention of the episode, of the Cisco episode, actually, where they were in the Cadet nightclub, and we had a very special cameo from RuPaul's Drag Race's Jackie Cox, who we all know is a big, long-time Star Trek fan. What did you think of that? Do you think that was a surprise? Was it well-deserved? Did it make you smile to see Jackie actually officially on Star Trek?
I mean, it made me smile. I mean, for having seen, Kelvin, we've been there when we watched Jackie perform at Piranha in Las Vegas as, Troy and some of those shows that we've been to. So to go from that to being like, we hung out with her to seeing her just kind of like you said, cameo, I think with a nice little nod. It wasn't too in your face. And if you blinked, you missed it. Or if you don't, if you know, if you don't know, you don't know. But yes. I thought it was great.
I loved it. I think she has really earned her stripes as a part of the Trek community. She's done red carpet events. Yep. She has, demonstrated through her non-Trek related drag that she is a big fan. And also, of course, you're going to have a drag queen in a bar with young people in the future. I think it was a perfect way to bring her into the show. I would love to see her again. And what a very cool opportunity for a fan to be able to bring your professional world that she comes from as a drag artist into your love of Star Trek and get to fuse the two. So cool. Love it for her and thought it was a great addition to the show.
I've only just realized, or you just said to bring drag into Star Trek. I was like, oh, so that means drag is a thing in the 31st century. That means drag queens, the huge part of our culture. She wasn't there to play an alien who just looks like that. It was a drag queen serving in the bar. So I like that. I'm going to take that. That's a big plant pride flag into the far-flung future.
Still a thing.
Still a thing.
1,000 years from now.
Yeah, God, them wigs would be battered. Okay, let's flip from the boys into the girls. Obviously, we had everyone's favorite power couple characters. We had Jet Reno and Laura Thock. I think this is a very different dynamic of gay culture, lesbian culture, of relationships and portrayal of competency and confidence and all the things that you just said, or we said that Jaden wasn't. So maybe this was the balance to give us, for someone who's still finding their feet as a young adult. Here are some grown-ups who have got their shit together. What did you think of the evolution of Jet Reno's story, Christos, from the widower in Discovery through to here she is, pretty much a main character with a new romance?
Right. Well, I think this is, to your point, this is an example of where it works. For Jet Reno from episode 1, which season 2 Discovery episode 1, she is a widow, but it's literally like, it's just in passing, my wife. It's not even like a big deal is made about it. that term is used, but otherwise it's something that anyone could be going through, right? Because she just happens to be gay. And so we see, Reno carry on through Discovery with no real romances and whatnot. And it's not really what her character is about. Her sexuality isn't even really a piece of what the character does on screen. It's about being a hyper competent engineer. And then we just kind of have this moment in Academy where you realize that Laura Thok is her girlfriend, partner, wife, whatever. I'm not sure that's ever the exact title is given, but you're just like, oh, they're together. I remember, and it's like episode 4 or something like that, where you're 5. I don't know where it was, where you just kind of realize that when they're talking about making who's making dinner, and they're just kind of having a really funny kind of couples quarrel about that, which is like, it literally is something that every couple, straight or gay, kind of still talks about. If you're cohabitating, it comes up, and they just have they seem like a really healthy, couple. And if you're a longtime fan, having watched since Discovery, there is that kind of payoff as the viewer to see her find somebody. And it explains also why she left Discovery and went to the Academy and wanted to settle down a little bit and be in one place.
Yeah. Ben, what did you think of Reno's relationship?
I enjoy it very much. I think it's a nice antidote to sort of the tropism that we were discussing earlier as it relates to Jaden. You've got two wonderful characters that are out there succeeding and living their best lives and choosing to do so together and in a very out and gay way. And I think it's great. I think it also, I love the domestic dynamic, talking about French Klingon fusion cuisine. And, it doesn't hurt that both of the actors that play these characters are lovable, wonderful, fantastic, funny people, that they very much bring themselves to the role, and that doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite things about the season. I used to always say on Discovery that Tig Notaro was such a scene stealer of any scene she was in. It was just all about her, a bit like Michelle Yeoh in that way. So it's no surprise the character got built. I was really surprised how much she got given to do in Starfleet Academy. I was expecting a few episodes. I don't know if there was, because we were led to believe Tilly would get all the storylines, and then she got one episode, and then we got so much Reno. I don't know if there was rewrites or rediscussions about that. But I loved all of Tig Notaro's Instagram stories that she would post during filming with just such a deadpan delivery that she has of, I've been for a haircut, I'm really sorry, but it's now my place to announce that I'm now the hottest member of the team in Starfleet Academy. And she just made me laugh for a year on screen and behind the scenes as well. So I'm just delighted that we got so much Tig this season. Sorry, Christos.
I was just going to agree with you. I thought, it was probably the nice little surprise you didn't know you had coming, to see so much more screen time, because a lot of times her Discovery scenes were forced in, and then sometimes there's stunt doubles and body doubles, for the way they kind of spliced her into Discovery, but she literally was on set and a major cast member for Starfleet Academy, and especially like star performer in the final episode of the season too. I mean, she's literally like she's MVP.
Yeah. Let's flip to the other side of this relationship. I've certainly made it no secret that my biggest pleasure of Starfleet Academy has been Laura Thok. She has been, she was very heavily underused in the second half of the season, that's for sure. But, oh my God, what a bang, what an impact. Straight off the bat, this hilarious UK comedian, Gina Ishiri, who came across and is now a female Jem'Hadar / Klingon / lesbian. Wow, talk about a way to piss off the haters. But she gave the gays everything that we wanted straight away. Any reactions from that character, Christos?
Instant love, like from the first scene. Like, and to your point, my only regret about this character was we didn't see enough of her in the season, especially toward the second half. Like, so the episodes that she is in, though, she shines, whether she is being the drill sergeant or hyper competent or just bickering with her wife. It's like all those pieces of it just fit, and there's not a moment. She's a scene stealer. Like, there's not a moment that when she's on scene that you don't like just gravitate to her.
Yeah, are you a fan, Ben?
Huge fan. The first couple of episodes had already aired by the time this year's Star Trek cruise happened. So I had loved every second of her screen time prior to the cruise. She came on the cruise. She came on maybe halfway through. And within maybe 90 minutes of boarding the ship, halfway through the cruise, they had her hosting a bingo event. And I think everybody flocked to it just because nobody had seen her yet. And it was trivia. I'm sorry, it wasn't bingo, it was a trivia event. And she is a stand-up comedian always, not just when she's up there doing her thing with the mic. She is so lovely. She is so funny, quick, witty, sharp, just an absolute delight. And so from then on, every other episode that I watched throughout the season, loved her even more than I did before.
Yeah. She's making some waves this week. She was highly critical of Chelsea Handler in a podcast about how she was treated by her on the old Chelsea Lately show. And that's kind of gotten some buzz.
I've seen that. And I was about to just say, in a very flip reverse way of handling the social media attention, where Kareem has said, I just focus on the positive and the impact and the lovely stories and forget the bad. If someone makes a negative experience, she will come for them. But in the most humanly aggressive way possible. And she's so entertaining, these rants that she goes on Instagram. Right. You can't help just fall in love with her. But she really tells it like it is. She does not pull any punches, and she will name names of people who have wronged her in the industry. And it's just another reason for me to love her.
Right. Well, we love that, right? The gays love that kind of stuff, right? So it is part of her shtick. It's a little part of the persona she puts out there. No nonsense. I'm going to not take crap from anybody, and I'm going to call out things that she feels is wrong. Yeah.
Very South London. Then you mentioned Brixton earlier about where you were going to go and see Mel C in Brixton. Gina is very South London. So that's what you're missing by not coming over. Okay, wrapping up Starfleet Academy then for the year. Let's not forget our other LGBTQ inclusions. We have Carice Brooks as well, Sam. The entire ensemble of the cast won a Critics' Choice Award for LGBTQ ensemble. That was a nice little nod, and it wasn't until I saw, this sounds really stupid to say, but it wasn't really until I saw everyone in a photograph accepting that award. I think the only exception was Tig Notaro, who wasn't present. I thought, oh my God, that's like most of the people in Starfleet Academy are in the community.
Yeah. Which is like fun in one sense, and also like plays into the whole, like, I don't know, the idea that it's being too in your face, right? So, like, yeah, like you think for me, it's great that they won the award, of course, and the whatnot, but you're really at that point, you're pleasing a niche crowd, right? You're the LGBTQ community, right? And probably and only adding fuel to the fire that it's being very intentionally woke, which I hate when I hear that. But like I said, we've mentioned it before. Some of it's been just a little bit too in the face, and even for our comfort levels. So yeah, I mean, Discovery was kind of getting the same way. There was 5-6 characters at one point on Discovery who were LGBTQIA plus.
I found the content of Academy a lot more palatable than Discovery, though. When Discovery did get that with the Adira and the Grey inclusion, and then this kind of family that came out of nowhere with Culber and Stamets, that made me kind of wince a bit because it wasn't really earned. It was just, there you go. Whereas I think it's felt a bit more naturalistic in Starfleet Academy. I think these characters just happen to be gay, and there is quite a few of them in this cast. Like when you do go to university, there is usually quite a big gay population. So yeah, I've not found it jarring at all. I've just really enjoyed it.
I don't think there's any such thing as too many LGBTQIA plus characters on a show or in a film, just as, there's no such thing as having, too much diversity of any type on a cast in a TV show or movie. I think it's a function of, are the writers able to craft stories that are satisfying to the audience for those characters? And when those characters' reason for being included is simply because of their inclusion in the alphabet soup, I think their impact can be diluted somewhat. And that, maybe one day we'll have a Trek show with an entirely LGBTQIA plus cast. And you know what? I think if they were all written in a way that they had compelling stories to tell, it'd be great. But I don't think we've gotten there quite yet with the storytelling.
I can see it now. The tales of the NCC 1701 LGBT. Brilliant. Okay, let's hop across to Starfleet. Why do we always do this? We always get this mixed up verbally. Strange New Worlds. It was on in the back end of 2025, so it is included in our retrospective of the last 12 months in Pride. A lot more muted in terms of content of the season, but whether it's the actors, whether it's the established characters of what we know from the backstory, we were still represented. Any standout moments for you, Christos, from season 3 of Strange New Worlds in terms of representation?
Actually, not a whole lot, which is fine, I guess. I don't look for it either way, but it was a little more, to your point, muted this last season in general. I see you have Trelane on here. Yeah, he definitely kind of came across as like Liberace to me. And
nail on the head.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of fun. And just like you said, coded, right? But it's not necessarily what his character is about, so it doesn't need to be just declared either way. You just accept that, okay, yeah, he's gay. Gay Q. But other than that, like, it wasn't a whole lot there for me. Am I missing something, guys? Am I not remembering? I haven't watched the season since it aired because I'm not a huge fan of the season. It was just okay to me.
I've watched it through twice, and maybe it's because I've had the chance to reflect back and then watch it through a second time. But I think that the second to last episode of the season, Terrarium, isn't explicitly gay coded, LGB adjacent, any of that. But I do think in the spirit of our Pride themed episode today, there are some parallels that you can draw with that episode, where Ortegas is marooned on the dangerous planet with the Gorn, and they have to find a way to work together in order to survive. And at the beginning of the episode, Ortegas is coming into this scenario with all of the trauma that she carries from her near-death experience at the hands of the Gorn, very understandably so. only to be forced to confront her own misconceptions, even prejudices, if you will, that she holds about this stranger that she's never met. She just assumes you're like all of the other Gorn that tried to kill me and have caused all this chaos and havoc in my life. And by being forced to exist together in that space with nothing else but each other to rely on for survival, they each come to see that they're not nearly as different as they think they are. And they actually only one of them comes away from the situation at all. Spoilers. Exactly. But by the end of the episode, there is a kinship between them that, even though they come from these very, very dissimilar worlds and have had all of these previous bad experiences relating to the other, that they were able to come together, function as a pair, be productive, provide safety, food, shelter, what have you for the other. And then seeing Erica's reaction when La'an shoots the Gorn in the end, that was just heartbreaking. I think for the little bit milquetoast reception that season 3 of Strange New Worlds has gotten, Terrarium to me is top tier Darmok level Star Trek that I think will be one of my favorite episodes for a long time.
Yeah. That was a good breakdown of that episode. Yeah, I mean, that episode gives you a lot of vibes too. And you're right, it is a strong episode for the season. There was a couple of good ones in there. It just wasn't as nearly as balanced as the previous seasons, I felt, as far as consistency of good episodes. But that one does stand out as a really good one.
And because we're doing pretty good on time here, so I'll draw the parallel even more explicitly to something we were talking about earlier. Not reading the comments, tuning out or at least the fact that we are so exposed and so online to, everyone else's negative opinions. I think the same is true if you were to sit two people in a room together, or you snap your fingers and all social media is gone tomorrow. Two people being forced to interact, whether it's in a life or death scenario or whether it's in a more commonplace everyday scenario, people are much less likely to have that vitriol when they're not behind a keyboard. If it's something you would say nasty online, but it's not something that you would say to my face, you know what? I'm not going to bother myself with your opinion. I don't need to know. And so if we can sort of carry that sentiment and reflect on what the episode shows, that when we do engage with each other on a face-to-face level, we're much more likely to be civil and to be able to come to some sort of understanding where we can both exist in this space, even if we don't end up being best friends in a way that at least our social media world doesn't allow or doesn't lend itself towards.
Yeah, well said. Well said. There wasn't really much else in season 3 to kind of pick up and reflect on. It's been, I don't know if the label was ever put as bisexual onto Christine Chapel. It just said she's hooked up with girls in the past, but obviously she had the relationship with Roger Corby, and I think it's interesting that sometimes the way bisexuals can be portrayed is that, oh, so you're not queer anymore, are you? Because you're now with a man. It's like, well, no, I'm just with a man at the moment. I may be with a woman again in the future. So I think that's interesting that we had this legacy conversation of Chapel hooking up with women in the past, and then there was the storyline with Spock and then Rob Jacoby. And has she kind of been straight washed, or is this just the way a bisexual storyline is and should be. It may be that she does have another relationship, and it's with a woman in the future. She racks them up, that's for sure. I don't think we're done with Chapel's love life.
No.
And then the only other thing just to reflect on is Celia. I think she did a fantastic job when she presented the Starfleet Academy launch on the blue carpet, very political. And it must have been so strange for her, having finished all of the filming of Strange New Worlds, having 2 seasons in the can, and now passing the torch to Starfleet Academy. I don't know how I would have felt in that scenario. I might have felt a bit deflated that my work is done. But she was so upbeat. She did a great job, and it just felt like she was on a night out with all her friends. Did you both see that? Did you watch the event?
I saw a little bit of it. I thought she did a really good job. And, you know, any exposure is good for actors, right? So they need to be out there showing they can do things, right? So if you show you're capable of hosting, you know, that opens up other doors for you as well. So, you know, good for her. I've met her a few times. She's very bubbly, very nice, very full of energy. So, yeah, gets a little excited actually. Like my little Celia Rose Gooding, I guess, quick story was at STLV last year. I was trying to get my Strange New Worlds album signed, and I was literally there for her autograph, and picture, and somebody gave her some theater card game, and she felt it was so important to just stop and say, yeah, I'll be back. And she had to go run to show it to Gates McFadden. So she left a line of people in her queue to go show something because she was so excited to show somebody who would appreciate it. Anyway, so I kind of took that 2 different ways. I was like, no, you could look at it as that's very like selfish to demand that people wait so you can go like socialize. But on the other hand, it was just kind of, I took it more of her excitement in the moment and how passionate she is.
Yeah. Very quickly, let's have a quick rundown of what we found elsewhere in the franchise. Christos, I know you've just completed the Star Trek Picard book from Dayton Ward, To Defy Fate. No spoilers, please, because I'm going to be reading it in 2 weeks in sitches. But did we get much Raffi and Seven action?
Well, I don't know about action.
Well, when I say action,
there wasn't any scissoring going on, but at the same time, they're definitely
explicit button now.
Their dynamic as a couple is definitely is fleshed out more in that book, which it naturally just kind of fit in given the circumstances of what they're going through.
Yeah, and we've seen the graphic artwork online as well from a new IDW comic that's come out for Pride season. Is that out yet? Have either of you got it, or is it still coming? No, shaking heads.
No, I don't think, they're probably out this month at some point. They may be out, but I haven't been to the comic book store in a while.
Well, just to whet your appetite for anyone who is interested in that, these 3 storylines in the comic have been put out. So we have a botanical adventure with Sulu and Ben, and you might be thinking, who's Ben? This is Kelvin Universe Sulu, so the gay Sulu, the actual gay Sulu, and his husband, who we saw on the Starbase. But then we get something a little bit more familiar, a bar brawl with Mariner and Jen in Lower Decks, and we get a holodeck date gone wrong with Stefan and Raffi, which to me probably sounds like the most exciting one. It seems a bit, the safeties might go off or something during their date and they end up having to fight the way out. That sounds good. Cool. I just want to touch on something before we move on. I've been binging the Delta Flyers recently. I'm very, very close to being caught up, but I was really struck by the episode review that they did for Rejoined in season 4. And Terry Farrell got very, very emotional on the show, and she revealed a lot of insight that I've never heard reported before. And she said that, however, it was quite universally accepted that the episode was done well, she didn't feel that she was particularly well treated and looked after as an actor during the filming of that episode, especially around the kiss scene. She felt there was a lot of people on the crew behind the scenes who were very laddish, high fives, yeah, two girls kissing, and she was lost in the emotion of telling of the story. And when the camera yelled cut, there was a big move towards protecting Susanna Thompson, the guest, to make sure she was okay. And nobody really paid any attention to Terry, and she just walked back to her trailer crying. And I just thought, wow, that's, as my favorite character in one of the most significant legacy representative episodes that we were lucky enough to get back then, it really soured the milk a little bit to think that it wasn't all smiles behind the scenes. I don't know. Ben, you listened to Delta Flyers. Did you hear that?
I haven't heard that episode, but I do think that does provide some context for a lot of our conversation today, that in the 90s when that episode happened, it was ultra rare for there to be even, a wink towards any LGBTQIA plus issues, storylines at that point in Star Trek. And how fortunate are we to be able to sit here today and critique all of these other gay characters that we now have in the Star Trek universe and nitpick, well, I like this one better than this one, and this storyline I love and this one I don't. How fortunate are we to have the buffet, if you will, of LGBTQIA plus storylines and characters to choose from, that we're even able to not like some of them. There are so many to choose from. Yeah. So let's not lose sight of the fact that we are very, very fortunate to have that representation today. And Dax is my favorite too, and I had not heard that story, and maybe that was another reason why Terry Farrell eventually decided that she was gonna leave.
I was just going to say that just kind of like pile that on, right? There's a lot of other things we've heard from other actors as well, and some of the stories told in the Women in Trek book and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Like there's that I think is on the director of that episode to not who should have done better. And, I'm not sure who that is, but anyways, I'm unfortunately, if you just look back at 90s Trek and some of the stories we've heard, that's just, sauce for the goose, as Mr. Spock would say.
So I just looked up the director of that episode, Avery Brooks.
Yeah. Surprise. It's quite surprising that. Anyway, let's finish off with very briefly, Ben, what does Pride mean to you in 2026? Whether it is what you think of Pride or what you're doing for Pride this year, how is Pride 2026 encapsulated for you?
Ronnie and I were having a discussion the other day about why each of us feel that it's important for us to fly a pride flag on the front of our house during the month of June. And for context, we live in a predominantly red area. We are a very small minority in our town, even within our county. And it's important to us to have that visibility. One, for the young people that might be driving past our house in the car with their parents or on the school bus, they don't see any other LGBT representation in this area. It's not here. There are no gay bars. There are no gay-owned businesses that I'm aware of. And so to show them that, yes, there are people who are like you, who are in this community and who are thriving and who contribute in a meaningful way to it. The second reason that we choose to and when I say flag, I mean this thing is giant. It's like a banner. It is a massive flag that we fly on the front of our house.
I'm gonna need you to send pictures.
I will. Second reason is sort of healing that inner self, where for many gay people, for the first couple decades of your life, you expend so much energy censoring yourself and policing your every expression and gesture and word, and is somebody going to notice? And to be able to not only release that self-censorship, but to be able to say very loudly, hey, look over here, here we are, we're going to tell you in case you didn't know, is reason number 2. And then reason number 3 is just a big middle finger to the haters.
Brilliant. Well said. And over to you, Christos. I'm sure you don't live in a little place where there's no other gays in the village. You're in the thick of it there in San Diego.
Yeah, and so because of that, I mean, I'm very fortunate. Ben, like, you kind of remind me why I live where I live. So kudos to you guys for doing what you need to do, because I very much am fortunate that I live in Southern California. I mean, even just yesterday, we were out in South Park and into the gay neighborhood, Hillcrest, a little bit, which is only a 10-minute drive from here. And even in my own neighborhood, if I walk around, which we do a lot of evening walks, there are several pride flags out there on houses in the area I live in. So San Diego is definitely one of those communities where, for the most part, especially in the more denser urban areas, is very accepted to just be yourself, and no one really cares at the end of the day. It's like, it's not necessarily that you're in your face or not in your face. It's just like, just people being people. I mean, it's not just LGBTQ. It's just a very diverse area in general, whether it's Latino population, there's people of all flavors here, and San Diego is just chill. I mean, it's a different story, even just going up to Orange County. It definitely gets more conservative, but here in San Diego, it's just very, very happy. Our Pride is in July here, so that's coming up. But like, you already kind of feel the Pride vibe out. We were, just the people out at the bars. It's summer season. People are, being able to wear tank tops and shorts and go out, and it's definitely a much more. And the sun's out all the time, so it just improves everyone's mood. So it just kind of feels like that Pride vibe is already kind of coming already for our, like I said, which will hit it here in mid-July. So, yeah.
Nice. I feel a huge amount of pride living in Manchester. It is a huge gay mecca. We've got a massive gay village, which has been, known for 30, 40 years, thriving. It's doing really well. But there is a huge amount of right-wing politics in the UK at the moment, and the proliferation of hate and fear on others and marginalised communities. A lot of local MPs have been elected up and down the UK, and the first things they've all started doing is cutting funding for Pride events in their local towns and cities. And in the complete contrast to that, the private business that run Manchester Pride really messed it up last year, and they lost. It basically went bust. So Manchester Pride this year is back to basics, a community event with funding from Manchester City Council. And it is just a little island of being supported by the local government, where nationally the rest of them are saying, no, we're not promoting homosexuality. We're not giving any budget to these Pride events. It's nonsense. And it's just chipping away at things and going backwards. Whereas Manchester are still very much front and centre of, no, this is important to the community, the area, and the businesses as well that operate within it. So Pride for me is being a proud Mancunian flying my little flag here, albeit I don't have a Pride flag up because I'd be afraid someone would torch my house.
What's happening on BQN, you ask? We're not just a network. We're a universe of exploration, entertainment, and deep dives into the topics you love. Here's your star map to the sonic adventures awaiting you. Let's chart the Star Trek cosmos with all good things. Embark on a comprehensive journey through the entire Star Trek universe with the insightful crew of Amy, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristin. From classic to current, they cover it all. Galaxy class, engage! Stephen and Stefan pilots this Alpha Quadrant mission, meticulously covering all aspects of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Infinite diversity. Stay current with the newest Star Trek Frontiers alongside Chrissy and Thad. Union Federation. Whether your allegiance lies with Starfleet or the Planetary Union, Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley offer a unified front, discussing both current Star Trek and the truly Trek at heart, the Orville. Crack open that book with Peter and the Trek Book Club podcast. Delve into a rich tapestry of Star Trek's beta canon. What's the tea, Bev? Christo spills the latest Trek news and fandom insights with an essential LGBTQIA+ perspective, complete with engaging guest interviews. Our visual voyages that you can find on YouTube as well as podcasts are Trek Masters. Think you're a Starfleet Academy graduate? Test your knowledge with Davey and MC's challenging Star Trek quiz show. And the View Screen. Tune in live on Sundays for your dose of a Trek-inspired talk show. Kelvin and Amy host new 8-week seasons each spring and fall. But beyond the final frontier, we have Bargain Bin Gamer. Davey and Mitch, your self-proclaimed gamer guides, lead you to digital treasures, unearthing and reviewing the most affordable video game gems. Cinema Z. Grab your metaphorical popcorn for Mark and Matt's cinematic deep dives, unearthing overlooked films that demand your attention. History with the Szilagys. In order to never repeat it, tune in as Chrissy and Jason deliver bite-sized snippets of historical events from around the globe and transformational journeys. Host Lex Rosa explores what it means to embrace authenticity in the face of societal expectations. You can unlock deeper levels of engagement with our exclusive patron perks. The Hive Mind is where you can join our random script readings, live reaction shows, and roundtable discussions. You can also now watch All Good Things as an extended video edit and get a background look into the creation of a podcast. Also, check out our back catalog of It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Stay connected to our ever-expanding galaxy of content by following BQN Podcasts on Instagram, Bluesky, YouTube, and Discord. We appreciate you choosing BQN to fill your auditory needs. Thank you for listening. Assimilate the audio.
Christos, what are we doing next week? I've come straight to you for this one.
Oh, I knew, I saw my name on it, but I knew why. So next week we are going to revisit our generic. There's a blooper for you. Well, your generic doctors in this one. So our genetic engineering episodes series, part 8, which, wow, part 8. Have we gotten to a part 8 on any of these? Wow. It's TNG's season 2, Unnatural Selection, which is the aged up Pulowski episode. And I think we have to add to the, I think it'd be fun to add to our script next week, be a whole little spot of what if Gates McFadden was the doctor in this episode? Like if it was just like, how would that like a what if almost kind of discussion? Yeah. Like how would that have gone if it were Dr. Crusher?
Brilliant. And speaking of aging ladies, Amy Nelson's back next week. She's been gallivanting all around.
She's still alive.
She's still with us, ladies and gentlemen. She's not dearly departed. She's not ascended. She's just taken a very long summer holiday, and she
sent some pictures the other day from Belize. I'm like, when did she go to Belize?
Yeah, she's had a lovely time. She's now landed safely back in Las Vegas. And yeah, she's looking forward to rejoining us next week. We would love to hear what you thought of today's show, and there are many ways you can do this. You can join our Facebook group, the BQN Collective. You can join our Discord server, or you can follow the network on Bluesky and or Instagram at BQN Podcasts to continue the discussion there. You can find all of the links and invite codes in the show notes. So, Christos, where can people find you when you are not arguing with Peter if you're going to have Klingon or French cuisine for your dinner tonight?
It'll probably be French. You can find me over on the BQN Collective on Facebook, our Discord server that you spoke of earlier, and you can catch me on Instagram at What's the Tea Bev. And Ben, where can people find you when you're not waving that pride flag high and dry?
Well, Christos, people can find me either in the Facebook group or at Ben Boldly Goes on Instagram. Kelvin, where can people find you when you're not rocking your sleeveless gym tee?
I'm always in my gym clothes recently. I always go to the gym just before recording.
Well, that's on Instagram.
Yes, on my wrestling singlets. When I'm not dressing provocatively for the gays, I can be found on most of the socials at Kelvin's Timeline, but my favourite place is in the BQN Collective Facebook group because I get to see all of our awesome listeners in there.
Well, you'll never hear a commercial break here on BQN, and if you'd like to help us keep all of our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can watch the video version of this very podcast, or you can join our reaction shows, script readings, and enjoy our special patron-only back catalog of shows like It's Green and Amy's Math Moments. Visit patreon.com/BQN to sign up and get all the details.
Now, if becoming a patron isn't your thing, you can still support the show by sharing our posts on social media, talking about it with your friends, or hitting the like and subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leaving us a 5-star rating and written review. That will help others find the show and build our little community of awesome listeners.
We'd like to give a big Pride thank you to all of our patrons, and a special shout out to our very own associate producer, JJ Seastrom. Special thanks to Graham Kelly for our opening and closing music, and to Kelvin for our artwork each and every week.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you'll join us as we search out
all good things.